Hi guys, I'm Nima from MVL Leasing, and today we put together a compilation video of our most luxurious cars. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of our videos. If you or somebody you know is in the market for a high-end or exotic car, you can hit our link in the top of the description. My email is there too. And don't forget to mention that you saw us on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to talk to you about arguably the most luxurious SUV ever made. I'm Nima from MVL Leasing, and this is a 2023 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. So the Cullinan was introduced by Rolls-Royce for a 2019 model year in North America. What's a Cullinan? So the name of the truck was taken after the largest diamond that was actually taken out of the earth. This was in 1905. This diamond was about just over 3,200 carats and weighed almost 1.5 pounds. It was named after Thomas Cullinan, the guy who actually owned the mine, which was in modern day South Africa. That diamond now is owned by the British monarchy and is integrated into the crown jewels. Just the diamond on its own was worth about $400 million, but once it was cut and spliced into other diamonds and things like that, their combined value is in the billions. That's where the name comes from. All Rolls-Royces have their prominent chrome grille. This will always be one of the design cues that are important to Rolls-Royces and the things that are the dead giveaway of what you're looking at, and this car is no exception. For the Cullinan, this one is a little bit bigger, a little bit more upright, real chrome, very expensive to replace. This car is known mainly because of its LED signature, which you're gonna see if I unlock the doors. You can see the signature at the top here. The car has a lot of presence like most Rolls-Royces do. The design of the car, very hotly debated. Not many people like the look, but it's not really about looks, it's about opulence. And we're gonna get into some of the things that make this car special. No Rolls-Royce is complete without your Spirit of Ecstasy. So this thing opens and presents itself. There's a setting where you can have it always stay down, and when it's up in this position, one thing not a lot of people know is that these are actually tamper-proof. So if I was to grab this and jostle it around, it will go down and probably take my finger with it. So this Rolls-Royce Cullinan has huge proportions. It may not look like it, but these are actually 22-inch wheels, probably the most common wheel that you'll see on a Cullinan, even though they have a few different rim styles. This one's probably the most popular. It's got a machined face with the dark inner spokes, but the one thing that's common to all Rolls-Royces that they kind of pioneered this neat feature is the self-leveling center caps. So these not only disguise or cover your wheel bolts, but they also add a little bit of style with the Rolls-Royce logo in the center. So regardless of what speed you're going at, whether it's 10 kilometers an hour or 200 kilometers an hour, these will stay level. Also very expensive to replace, about $500 or $600. Standing here at the side of the car, you can kind of get an idea as to how big this SUV actually is. Like, I'm 6'1" and this car is just about as tall as me. A couple things I want to point out while we're over here. So these tires are specially designed for this car. These are designed for low road noise and comfort. A lot of Rolls-Royces have what they call a coach line. Sometimes you have a double or a single coach line. That's what this line is right here. Not a lot of people know that this is actually painted on by hand. There's one guy that does this at the factory in Goodwood. This one is actually, it's hard to tell, but it's actually a color called Charles Blue. It's a very light colored blue, and this theme is carried on in the interior. This particular car is black. They call the color diamond black, which is kind of fitting for a car that was named after the biggest diamond ever found in the world. BMW actually owns Rolls-Royce motor cars, so you're gonna notice a lot of stuff that only the trained eye would be able to pick up on. Those brakes are BMW brakes, but they're very big and very powerful, and they're ventilated, and you need that when you're trying to stop almost 6,000 pounds worth of Rolls-Royce. These are your mirrors. You got extra cameras here. You have one camera that's hidden in that iconic grille, one on the side of each mirror and one in the back. You got the Rolls-Royce fender badge. That one's in all chrome. These are the door handles. These are all specific to Rolls. I've never seen another car with door handles like these. When we open this door, the door is very heavy, okay? It's almost like opening a safe door, and that's on purpose. Now, one cool feature about these doors is that it's not like most car doors where when you open it, you got two notches to choose from, or it's fully open. There's actually a piston here that you can actually stop the door wherever you want, and it stays there. That's really nice for such a heavy door. And also, let's say you open the door when it's super windy, this door will not fly open. It slows itself down. There's also motors that are integrated into these pistons that help close these doors. So if I own a Rolls Royce, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to close my own door, and there's buttons that help me do that. Another thing that's unique to Rolls Royces are the coach doors, or suicide doors. So they actually open in the opposing direction. So when they open the door like this, it's a lot easier to get in and out of the car. This car has the same door pistons that let you stop the door wherever you want and things like that. Of course, you need to have your courtesy umbrella, really expensive. Make sure you don't lose those. Another cool thing is the soft close. You can't have a car that costs this much money where the doors don't kind of vacuum shut themselves. It's actually a really nice feature, so you're not worried about heaving this door closed. So here's the rear wheel. That's a 285 tire in the back and a 255 tire in the front. Let's move our way to the back here. I actually think this is probably the best angle of the car because this kind of is reminiscent of a lot of the common Rolls-Royce design, like the Ghost and things like that. The front, I think, is a bit boxy, and I'm not alone on that. I know that that's what a lot of people think. One other thing that I wanted to mention when you look at these nice LED taillights is when you have the Rolls-Royce logo that's kind of embossed onto your reverse lights there. Really nice touch, something you wouldn't notice unless you got up close. So let's look in the trunk. It's really nice because you have a tailgate that opens up like this, and you also have a motorized lower portion of the tailgate that kind of flips down like that. A lot of carpet in here. It's done for a couple reasons. They put the carpet in here, A, because it looks nice, and B, for sound deadening. This is probably one of the quietest cars you'll ever drive, despite the fact that you have a V12 under the hood. Your parcel shelf or your luggage compartment cover here is all stitched in leather. It's fully removable. So there's no manual labor with this car. If you want to drop those seats, you have these buttons, and those seats are motorized and they go up and down by themselves. That same thing goes for your trunk and tailgate. So when I press this button, everything just closes on its own. All right, let's hop in. A couple of things you see right off the hop. Illuminated Cullinan stainless steel tread plates, that's an option. You have the lamb's wool floor mats. I've never wanted to drive a car barefoot until I sat in this thing. Probably dry clean those things, because if you ruin them, it's a few grand to replace. Okay, let's have a seat inside. Again, it's a pretty big truck, and sometimes the door is hard to reach. It's also really heavy, so it's really convenient to have this button disguised kind of like underneath your cowl here. You just press that for the driver door and the door closes itself. I have one for the driver door and I have one here for the passenger door as well. When the passenger hops in, they also have their own button for their own door. Rolls-Royces typically have skinny steering wheels and very easy steering. You could probably steer and drive this car probably with your pinky if you really wanted to. That's just so it's nice to hold and things like that. The glass, double glazed or double paned, I mean. This is done mainly for sound. So when these windows go up, you could be going through a construction zone, and the second this closes this gap, absolute silence. A lot of things in here that are bespoke to Rolls-Royce. A lot of stuff in here is borrowed from BMW. So one thing that they borrowed for BMW was the digital instrument cluster. So you still have the chrome rings around your bezels that's, you know, are stationary. That's something physical, but within that is the screens where it augments a speedometer needle and things like that. One thing that's really cool with Rolls-Royces is that they don't have a tachometer. Like, the performance is not really something that Rolls-Royce ever references in any level of marketing material. To even find out the horsepower of a vehicle, you almost have to twist their arm. But in place of a tachometer, they actually have a gauge here that they refer to called power reserve, and it goes from 0 to 100%. So depending on how heavy you are on the throttle, the car will let you know how much power you have left in order to exploit to do whatever it is that you want to do. Accelerate, pass somebody, or anything like that. Then you just have a coolant gauge and a fuel gauge, which is important information when you're driving any car. This Rolls-Royce has a black leather interior with Charles blue accents. So the seats are all black leather, the transmission tunnel is black leather, the upper dash, the lower dash, but there's certain parts that are Charles blue, like the top of your door card, your armrest on your doors, the underside of your cowl, which extends all the way across here, also on the seats. So this car has Charles blue stitching on the seats with piping here and an accent in the inlay, and the monogram in the headrests are also stitched out of Charles blue. A lot of Rolls, they have lot of chrome elements, and you're reminded of that in here. Some of your switches and your knobs are trimmed in chrome, and in this case black leather as well, but these pieces are chrome. Some of your switches are chrome. Now these aren't plastic, these are actual chrome buttons, so it's not just a look. It's to replace this button panel is an absolute fortune. Rolls-Royce borrows the iDrive system that BMW has developed. So if you look here, the arrangement of these buttons, the different categories you can adjust through your iDrive knob is very similar to what you'd find in a common BMW, but they always have to put their own Rolls-Royce thing on it. So rather than a BMW logo, or no logo for that matter, being on your iDrive knob here, they got a nice image of the Spirit of Ecstasy. This is touch sensitive, so I can pinch and zoom and things like that when it comes to the map and stuff like that. One cool feature the car has is that you can program these 8 buttons to do a number of things. Some of the things is just programming your favorite radio station. But rather than just button mashing and hitting a button in order to find what you want, all you gotta do is lightly put your finger on it and the car will tell you what is programmed to that button without you actually having to commit to pressing that button and having to go through all the buttons to find what you want. You can thank BMW for that one. There's a lot of space here, mainly because you don't have your transmission selector lever taking up any space here. This leaves room for your cup holders, which are trimmed in what's called open pore black wood. It almost has a matte finish, and it's real wood, all cut from one tree. They don't screw around in good wood. And you have something here to store, I don't know, cigarettes, cigars, other expensive things. Your gear selector is actually up here. So this is done for a little bit of ease of use, but again, mainly just to create more space down here, and it seems a bit more symmetrical and usable here. They keep your climate control and other creature comforts really simple. So the speed of your fan is between soft, medium, and high. Depending on what temperature you want, you adjust these rotary knobs in order to tell the car what type of air you want. You can't really set a temperature, you just kind of adjust this to what you want and the car decides. You have a button here for your heated seats, cooled seats, heated steering wheel, and the seats also have massage. Those buttons though are located on the side here. So there's 3 different modes of massage that you can choose, and you can also program your seat to up to 2 drivers, and you can program those positions to the key as well. So you can program the steering wheel position, tilting and telescoping, the position of the mirrors, and the position of your seats. So back here you have all your accents that I've kind of mentioned before. The Charles Blue armrest, the chrome trim, and the open pore blackwood trim on this particular car. So let's just hop in here. There's a few different ways to do this. It's pretty easy though, but the reason why the front seats are so bulky is because you have a nice little handle in here that helps you balance and kind of get your way in here. With these Cullinans, these seats are actually situated a good ways back in order to give you a really good amount of leg room. Even though they borrow a lot of tech and stuff like that from BMWs, they did not borrow a chassis from BMW. This is actually a modified Rolls-Royce Phantom chassis. You need that type of chassis in order to have this much space to accommodate your occupants. This particular car is a 5-rider, so you can actually get an option called, I believe it's called executive rear seating, where I basically have my own seat. There's a console here, some that have a fridge that house champagne flutes and things like that, and it's a little bit more opulent, but still very nice. Now when you're back here, it's a little tricky to try to close this door, but like I said, I don't want to open and close my door, so you just press this button back here and the door closes all by itself. Likewise, the doorman at the Four Seasons will thank you. He won't have to even close your door because there's a touch sensitive button right on those chrome door handles that one can just simply swish their finger on from the outside, and then the door will also close by itself. And once it closes, the vacuum suction actuates and it closes on its own. This car doesn't have a sunroof. But if you ever see a Rolls-Royce with no sunroof, that means they spend a little bit of extra money, and that is for the ever so popular Starlight headliner. So this looks really nice at nighttime, gives a really nice glow, and are based off of actual constellations. It's not just random lights that are peppering the roof. It's based on actual constellations, and you can actually play around with it and turn it on and off and make it brighter and activate the shooting star by pressing these buttons on the roof here. Twin turbo V12, 6.75 liters. Engines provided by BMW. They're built in Germany and sent to Goodwood, where the engine's transplanted into the car. The technical horsepower on the car is about 560 horsepower, which is just enough power to move all this weight. With all this weight, the car is far from lazy, but it does move with a little bit of urgency, getting you where you want to go with style and with grace. This is necessary when you have a car of this mass. You got to have big brakes to stop the thing, and you got to have a big engine to get the thing going. I'm Nima with MVL Leasing, and today I'm going to talk to you about a 2019 Rolls-Royce Wraith Black Badge, but not any black badge. This one's an Adamas edition. So what you're looking at is a 2019 Rolls-Royce Wraith Black Badge Adamas Edition. We'll start from the basics. So this is a Series 2 Wraith. So they built this car from 2014 until 2021. And this one is a Series 2, which is highlighted by the updated LED headlights. Now, this is a black badge. So a black badge is kind of a little bit more heightened performance and a little bit more dark design when it comes to the Rolls-Royce Wraith. And this is immediately noticed when you put your eyes on the Rolls-Royce grille. It's normally chrome. Anything that's chrome on this car has now been replaced with black chrome. It's not just gloss black, it's black chrome. So the slats in this iconic grille are all black. Your Rolls-Royce logo is black. The top of the grille is black here. The window trim is all black chrome as well. So they did away with a lot of the chrome on this car, or at least the traditional type of chrome. So I had mentioned how the grille is all made of black chrome, but you have these little louvers down here that are normally made of chrome. That's black chrome as well. This is actually the first time in 2019, if you were to get this car, was the first time that you were able to get a Wraith in a two-tone paint. So this is called Diamond Black and this is called Morpheus Blue. But what sets this car apart is the Spirit of Ecstasy. This Spirit of Ecstasy is actually made of forged carbon. It takes almost 3 days to make, and it sits on a titanium base that is engraved with to remind you that you're in a black badge Adamas edition. What does Adamas mean? According to Rolls-Royce, it's a reference to invincibility and the toughness of a diamond, which carried on throughout the design of the car. So one of the things that's a dead giveaway that you're looking at a black badge Rolls-Royce are the wheels. And you wouldn't be able to tell unless you looked up close, but this wheel is actually made of a couple extravagant materials. Now, first of all, the spokes are forged aluminum. The face is polished. The inside of the spokes are painted gloss black, but the barrels of the rims are actually made of carbon fiber. This is done to reduce unsprung weight, and they're very expensive. So you better watch out for potholes, because if you were to damage these wheels, there's no fixing. You have to replace them, and they cost just under $10,000 each. There's still a little bit of chrome on the Wraith. The door handles are still made of chrome. These are often called suicide doors. Rolls-Royce calls them coach doors, so they open in the opposing direction. No Rolls-Royce is complete without your courtesy umbrella. This hides in the fenders and are easily accessible by the driver. In this case, the passenger. The driver gets one as well. Very expensive, few grand to replace one of these, so make sure you don't misplace those. The Rolls-Royce fender badge, again, black chrome, just like the front grille. You'll notice the window trim isn't chrome either. This is black chrome, just like the front grille. This theme is carried on in the back, where normally we have chrome trim around the taillights. These are painted black as well to match the car. The two-tone goes from the front of the car all the way to the back. There's no sunroof on this car, and we're going to show you why. Your trunk trim, which is normally chrome, this is all darkened as well. Black badges have what Rolls-Royce calls sport exhaust. So you have your same trapezoidal shaped exhaust tips, but it has a little bit more throat. It's still a quiet car, just a little bit louder than a normal. If you look in the trunk here, this is better appointed than a lot of the interiors of most cars. You have full carpet in here with lots of sound deadening and lots of space. When you open the door, you're immediately greeted by the illuminated door sill here, where it shows your Infinity logo, which is common to all black badges. That's the logo. It says Black Badge Wraith Adamas, 1 of 40 for the world. There's probably only a handful of these in Canada. Now, if you have a Rolls-Royce, they don't want you to have to worry about closing your own door, so they have these buttons conveniently located right in front of your A-pillar that when you press, the driver door will close itself nice and slowly. When we're on the inside carries on the color theme of what we have on the outside. So you have Morpheus Blue steering wheel trim, Morpheus Blue stitching on the dash, on the seats, plus these little trim pieces on the seats as well.
The one really special thing about this particular Wraith is the Starlight headliner, which is normally a constellation, but they have a pattern here which makes reference to carbon, and this is basically what carbon looks like on a molecular level before it becomes a diamond. No Rolls-Royce is complete without your high-end watch on the dashboard, and this car is no exception. So normally the bezel of this watch is chrome. It's black chrome to carry on the theme from the outside, but the one thing that's special about this clock is that it has 88 laboratory diamonds that are actually encrusting this black badge infinity logo inside. But you have a nice watch here with a white face, black rim, and chrome chaplets. It's a really nice touch to the interior of this car over and above your ordinary Wraith. This particular car is also equipped with Rolls-Royce bespoke audio, so it's the best sound system that you can get in a Rolls-Royce. They don't rely on people like Bose or Burmester. They create the sound system in-house. This trim, these speaker grills are normally chrome, black chrome to go with the whole black badge edition. This particular car is equipped with this really nice matte machine finish trim. Over here you have your standard cup holders. You also have a slot here where you can stick your key, so it's not bulking in your pocket. No Rolls-Royce would be complete with an ashtray. So you have an ashtray here where you can ash, and you have a nice little recess in here which looks to be the perfect size to lean a cigar. If you look in the back seat, this is a full-size car built on a similar chassis to a 7 Series, so 2 full-size adults can sit there in complete comfort. 4-zone climate control. I got my zone, they got their zone, and these guys have their zone too. A couple other neat features this car has. It's got night vision, so it uses a thermal vision camera, which is integrated into the front grille. So when you're driving at nighttime, you can activate the night vision, and the imagery shows on your central display here. So anything that's warm, like a person or anything like that, will appear to be white. And it also has things like pedestrian detection. So it will notice and will highlight people or animals that are coming across the path of the car. Okay, let's take a look under the hood. Now, all Rolls-Royces, up until this time, or at this time at least, were all V12s. So this is a 6.5-liter twin-turbo V12. The engine is provided by BMW. This particular one in this black badge is rated at 624 horsepower. Not a whole lot to see, but a nice beautiful valve cover to remind you that you have 12 cylinders, especially with this nice little V12 badge here. 2 intakes that come in like this, 2 separate cylinder banks. One cool demonstration that Rolls-Royce is known for is that the engine runs so smoothly that if you were to fill a champagne flute with champagne and place that glass on top of this engine, you can start the engine and rev it, and the champagne won't even fizz. Now, we don't have any champagne to do this demonstration, but hey, if you wanted to buy it, we can celebrate and do that demonstration for you. I'm Nima from MVL Leasing, and this is a 2023 Bentley Continental GT Speed. If you or somebody you know is in the market for a high-end or exotic car, you can hit our link in the top of the description. My email is there too. And don't forget to mention that you saw us on YouTube. Okay, before I get to the goods, I just want to remind you guys to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you'll know as soon as we release a new video. They're released about once every week on Saturdays about 10 a.m. The Bentley Continental GT Speed is the top of the range when it comes to the Continental GT. The color of this car is called Granite, and the interior is black and red. Black they call Beluga, and the red they call Hotspur Red. So let's get to the engine, because that's probably the coolest part about this car. It's a 6-liter W12 twin turbo. You can get these Continental GTs in V8, V12, and Speed V12. The Speed V12 is just like the regular V12, but you got about a 30 horsepower advantage, totaling about 659 horsepower. Transmission is a double clutch. They borrow that from Porsche. They borrow the chassis from Porsche. They borrow the all-wheel drive system, all-wheel drive steering from Porsche. This is actually built on a Panamera chassis. But the cool thing about this engine is that it's proprietary to to Bentley. They're the only ones that use it. The car has kind of a double bug-eye headlight, and with generations that replaced the ones before, the inner one has always gotten larger with the little one on the side. These headlights, I'm just gonna hit the unlock button so you can see it. They kind of have like what they call the jeweled design.
So when these LEDs come on, the lights inside almost make it look like a diamond. I think it's a really nice touch, and when you see this in your rear view mirror, it looks very, very luxurious. Bentleys are common, or what's common with them is their chrome grille matrix. You have your main grille here and the ones down here. Now on a Speed, the front bumper, the lower front bumper is different. But one thing you really wouldn't know unless you looked up close is that all the grills for this particular car are painted the same color as the car. Kind of helps with the continuity. They kept the chrome trim. It looks pretty good. You can also get these cars with no chrome trim, except for the Bentley badge, of course. So you can get all this stuff done in black. This one, they kept it chrome. I think it was a really nice touch. Big engine. It's a W12. Now, what's a W12? A W12 pretty much fuses together two V6s, and they do it in such a way that when you look at the cross section of the engine, it looks like a letter W. Now, the reason why they originally did this was because it was a way to permit the car to have enough space for a V12 engine and accommodate all-wheel drive. Because if you have an engine that's that big and you have a differential that's sitting in front or beneath it, the engine would have to be on top, and this would increase the height of the front bumper and increase or decrease your center of gravity, and that's not good. So Volkswagen was actually the company that designed that engine, and those engines are built and then sent to Crewe, England, where they're transplanted into these cars. These cars are all hand built. Since you have an engine that's that big and puts out that much power and is turbocharged, it's nothing but radiators behind here. It's Radiator City. You got a big one back here, and you have a few down here, all designed to cool different things, from your transmission to your motor oil to your coolant and things of that nature. Car's got air ride, so you can raise the suspension if the weather or the terrain looks a little bit hairy. And it's sport tuned suspension too, so when the car gets up to certain speeds, it'll hunker down. It may not look like it, but this car tops out at about 208 miles an hour. That's faster than a Lamborghini Huracan, faster than a Gallardo, and faster than a lot of cars, although it doesn't look like it. Back in the day, Bentley and Rolls-Royce actually used to be sister companies, and they used to share chassis and things like that. And you could put the two cars beside each other, and the only reason you know you're looking at a Bentley is because the front bumper was changed or the headlights were changed. Now, these were both hand-built, extremely luxurious British cars. But the thing that set these two brands apart was that Bentley always had that sport appeal. Bentley engaged in motorsports competition. Rolls-Royce never did that. Rolls-Royce was always all about luxury. So when you wanted the top of the luxury car market, a car from the top of the luxury car market, and you're choosing between, say, Bentley and Rolls-Royce, if your only concern was comfort, you go for the Rolls. If you want comfort and sport appeal, you go for the Bentley. And they carry on that theme today. This is something that Volkswagen has kind of maintained when it comes to the branding of this car. They don't want you to think it's an old man car. They want you to think it's still got a lot of balls in order to keep up with a lot of today's sports cars. Okay, speaking of that engine, let's open the hood and see what we're working with. One thing you're going to notice right away is that there's no space for anything in here. There's not 1 square inch of space that's left to spare, and that's just because your engine has such huge displacement. This is a 6-liter, and it's a W12, and like I said, the engine is about as high as it can be to accommodate that front differential, and it's turbocharged too. I believe it's a hot V, so the turbochargers are actually in the middle. As a result of the size of this engine and everything that they've had to do, like it's actually an engineering marvel how they're able to fit everything into this engine bay. But there are some cons that come with that. One of them is that this engine is not particularly service friendly. One example is if you need to address any of the bulbs or address anything with these headlights, you need to remove this fender. Okay, so a lot of the stuff that can be done on this car is not impossible. It just costs a lot of money in labor hours, because in order to you don't want to just let anybody remove this fender. They damage this, you're toast. Like, it costs a lot of money to replace this. So it takes very delicate hands and somebody who knows what they're doing in order to service these cars. This oil filler cap here is called a jeweled oil filler cap. Believe it or not, this is an option even on a Speed, and this car new was about $460,000. Plus luxury tax, I think. Maybe not, depending on when the car was ordered, but if you're spending almost $500,000, just give me your best oil cap. These wheels here are specific to the Continental GT Speed. You got these giant brakes with the caliper on the front. I believe these are Brembo brakes. No, I think these are actually Akebono brakes. Big steel rotors. You can get these cars with carbon ceramics. I don't think this car was spec'd with that, but this rotor is about 1 inch thick and looks like the diameter is just huge. And you need that because this car is actually very heavy. Coolest engineering feats about this car is that despite its big weight, it handles its weight really well. So it's like a fat guy being able to do somersaults. It's really a sight to see how this thing hugs corners and things like that. When you come down to the side here, there's a few chrome trinkets that really stand out. So one is this, the speed badge. I think that one's a nice touch. And any Continental that has a 12-cylinder engine, you have a little 12 down here. This whole logo here is designed to kind of hark back to a very older models. So this is kind of like meant to look historic. And I think it's a really nice touch because it helps set this car apart from your regular V8 models, because to the untrained eye, you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference. You got a chrome strip that comes along the bottom here. One thing I wanted to mention is that this is supposed to look like a letter B. A lot of stuff is supposed to look like a B. That's another game we can play with this because they try to disguise these Bs in different ways, and we're gonna go through that as we go along. These Continental GTs, they have a high waistline and a low roof line. So this opening is actually less than a foot. When you have a coupe like this too, you have no need for a B-pillar. So this window is actually power. Your rear passenger has control over it, and the driver obviously has control over every window in the car. But it looks really nice when you're driving along on a nice day and you have all these windows down, because if you're driving some cars with the window down, the wind will come here, it'll hit the side of your headrest and you'll kind of get like a buffeting. So when you have a fully open window opening with no B-pillar, it's actually really nice. No sunroof on this car. I don't even think you can get a sunroof on it. It's not like a Rolls Royce where you got a Starlight headliner or something. That's just how it comes. Because of the shape of the car, there's no room for a sunroof cassette. Maybe it's a good choice. I think it maintains the shape of the car and it lowers the center of gravity. A lot of the weight of this car is below the waistline. The chrome trim around the windows, this is a nice touch. This is brushed aluminum. It's not chrome. You can get this in gloss black as well. I think this is a nice touch, and I think it matches this color really nicely. When we come back here, you see the rear wheel. It's a big rear wheel. Doesn't look very performance-y, but believe me, it is. This is a 315 tire. Tires are made by Pirelli. Staggered setup. So you have 315s in the back and slightly, I think these are 275s in the front. When we come around here to the back, you're gonna notice that chrome stripe on the side. It kind of continues onto the rear bumper and goes to the back here. There's chrome trim around each of the tail lights, and these tail lights have that same jeweled feature that the headlights do. So if I just hit the unlock button, you can see they kind of glow and have this three-dimensional pattern on the inside. It makes it feel like you're looking at a ruby. These tail lights have slowly shrunken in size from generation to generation. I think they look the best on this one. You let me know what you think. Now, Bentley always had, their badges were always the B with the flying wing, but lately they've been actually writing this on the car. I think that's a nice touch. I don't think it's necessary, but it's nice to read. I like to see that. All Continental GTs have the motorized rear spoiler that when it's deployed, it just comes up like this, nice and discreet, and when it's down, it blends into the bodywork. I think it's very well mannered when you look at it like that. You have your parking sensors here, and you have your rear view camera here. Now, one way that you can tell a V8 apart from a 12-cylinder Continental GT is your exhaust tips. If they're oval, it's a 12-cylinder. If it's got like a little rib in the middle, then it almost looks like a double bubble type thing. That way you know that it's a V8. You have your reverse light that's separate from your tail light. So all you see up here is red. I think it's a really nice feature when you separate your reverse lights from your tail lights. And this one puts it right down here in the middle, which is nice because it puts the light right where you need it in view of your rear view camera, which I think is a fisheye as well, which helps you have better judge your surroundings. When we come up here to the top, you wouldn't know this unless you saw the car driving. But even since the first Continental GT, which came out in 2004, they always had the third brake light that's cleverly disguised at the top of your rear windscreen. You really wouldn't know unless you were behind the car. It's a nice thin line LED strip that comes on when you press the brakes. I think it's a really nice touch. If you come around here to the side, another option that was checked off on this car is called the jeweled gas cap. They call it a jewel oil filler cap and jeweled fuel filler cap. So this is made, it looks like it's made of aluminum, it has these nice rivets in it. I think it's a nice touch. Again, something I think you should get for free, not something you should have to pay for, but who am I? We're gonna take a look in the trunk. There's a couple ways to do this. You got a trunk button on your key. But one thing that hasn't really changed with these Bentleys, if you press that B on the flying B, then the trunk will open. The trunk is cladded in this really nice carpet. You got a little bit of space down here, and you have this little hatch that you can open up, and this kind of exposes your battery. Car actually has a couple batteries. I know sometimes that we get these cars in where the battery's dead, and it's we always have to determine which battery needs to be replaced. They're really expensive, but they last a long time if you take care of them. So that's why a lot of these cars come with trickle chargers, which is what is in this box right here. Everything's motorized, so I just press this and the trunk will close on its own. Okay, now that we're in the car, I can show you some of the things that are, specific to this car. So one feature I wanted to point out is your belt buckler. You can see it right behind me there. It actually hands my seatbelt to me, so I'm not reaching back for it and having to put it, grab it to put it on. So I think that's a nice feature. This car, I told you the interior is called Beluga on hot spur with a deviated stitch. So Beluga is what Bentley uses to refer to as black. So that's what all the black leather on here is. It's black Alcantara in the middle of the seat because this is the performance model. I guess they assume you're going to be taking corners, and when you have Alcantara in the middle, it helps your butt stay put when you're doing that. The deviated stitch is nicely exemplified on your dashboard here. So you actually have black leather that comes on the top with a red stitch at the edge, and the trim has a red leather with black stitch. I think it's a really nice contrast. This continues on your transmission tunnel as well. One feature I want to point out on this car, which I think is necessary if you're getting any Bentley, is called the NAME sound system. So this sound system is extremely expensive. It's not standard on any Bentley. You have to check off this box, and I can't remember. I want to say 15,000, but don't quote me on that for the sound system. But it is tip top, and it's proprietary, built in-house by Bentley. The windows are double paned, kind of like those Rolls Royces that we've been doing. That's all for quietness. So even though you're doing 208 miles an hour, I think this would probably be the quietest car that you could be achieving that speed in. Transmission, I had mentioned, is actually borrowed from Porsche. A lot of stuff is borrowed from Porsche, but you can't tell. Everything has Bentley's own little touch to it. Just like the dials that you use to turn, these are all knurled. And this isn't something that you get in these Porsches, and this is something that's specific to these cars. This car has a Mulliner specification, which is kind of just like better heightened trim and fit and finish relative to a regular Bentley. And you're reminded of that when you look at this watch right here, or this clock that's in the middle of your console. I like the fact that there's lots of buttons here. You have some that are made of real brushed aluminum, and the other ones are kind of disguised in black that kind of light up at nighttime. I like tactile buttons. I don't know about you guys. I know that a lot of car companies are going away from this. Everything's got to be done through a screen or something like that. I want to have at least some. I don't mind adopting this, but I don't want to marry this concept completely. Having volume knobs and things that have tactile feel is just something I've gotten used to. When you're spending this much money on a car, or when they're developing a car like this, there's really not a lot of details that are overlooked. Even your wiper stock right here, the end of it has a knurling on it. That's real chrome. Your turn signal stock, your adaptive cruise control stock here, where you can adjust your speed and the distance between you and the car in front of you, and things like that, all have these extra little touches on them. And I think that's a really good attention to detail. It shows that these guys really didn't want to screw around. And when you fire the car up, you're greeted with the Bentley logo in your central infotainment screen and a fully digital instrument cluster. So different information can be shown here in the middle, depending on what's going on over here. But your tachometer's on your right and your speedometer's on your left. You have your different driving modes here. So right where your engine start button is, right here in the middle, this knurled piece around helps you switch between your different driving modes. So you have custom, comfort, Bentley logo, and sport. So when you're going from one mode to the next, similar to the other cars that we've reviewed, different things about driving dynamics change. So that would be like, the stiffness of your suspension, the behavior of your all-wheel drive system, the timing of your gear shifting. This screen here is all digital, and it has you can easily go through different things, and it has like a level of audible feedback when you're going through the different modes. It's nice, it's widescreen, and it's high def, and I don't find it to be very laggy. I think it's actually quite good. One nice feature about the Speed is your steering wheel here. So most steering wheels have certain parts, or like where your hands are made of Alcantara. Just on the outer edge of this steering wheel is where the Alcantara is. And I suppose this is actually where you need the most grip when you're trying to go through corners and stuff like that. Never seen anyone drive this car like an animal, but when you see details like this, it's kind of an indication to be like, hey, you know, we can have some fun when you want. The paddles on the back here, these are all crafted out of a single piece of aluminum, each of them actually, and they're knurled on the back too. Everything has like this knurling on it, which makes something that's metal easy to grasp, easy to get some grip. So, because if you just had like a flat surface of metal or stainless steel, sometimes you could slip. But when you have this knurling, not only is it a nice touch that's kind of reminiscent of that jeweling that you see in the headlights and the taillights, it's a nice touch, and it kind of helps you grip that stuff. When you look at the vents here, these are quintessential British things, okay? So you literally manually can adjust the angle of this and stuff like that, but it's these pins that you pull and close that are not fair for efficiency. Germans probably would not do this. This is left just as a way to kind of remind you, hey, you're in a British car. Because I've seen them in Jags, I've seen them in Rolls, I've seen them in Bentley, not really anything else. Not really any modern car, at least, besides cars of this nature. You get a whole cockpit feel in this car. So I feel like I'm still in a lot of luxury like I am in a Rolls Royce, but I feel like I'm in a sports car because like I said, the waistline is really high, the roof line is really low. I'm very close to all of the amenities and all of the tech. In a Rolls, it's not really like that, but again, I'm just illustrating the difference between the two. And if you want something with more sport appeal, then this would be the one to go for. The back seats actually aren't bad. So you could fit some people back there. It's not as comfortable as, say, it doesn't have as much space as, say, a Wraith, because again, you're just in a Panamera chassis. It is pretty comfortable. And when you're sitting back there, your seats are cladded the same as the driver and the passenger. You have your cup holders, a couple charging ports for your phone and whatnot. And you have your own window switch for that little rear quarter window I was telling you about that we can pull down completely. Actually, I'll pull them down now. This way you can kind of see the whole window opening. I think it's a really nice touch. That rear window, it's pretty big when you look at it from the outside, but when you're sitting on the inside, it looks like you have maybe 6 inches of space to look out into the back. So that rear view camera would come in pretty good handy. A couple other things that I wanted to point out about this interior that I like. You can change a lot of the driving modes and stuff through your infotainment here. You can raise the suspension using your infotainment here. You have 2 buttons here, one to deploy your spoiler and one to put it back. But one thing I like is the doors, because I was explaining about that deviated stitch, and that's kind of continued onto the top of the door card here and at the bottom of your door card, right where you can put all your belongings. But one thing that I like that you can tell you're in a quality car is things like the door handle. Like, you may not think it's a big deal, but once you pull this, you'll understand, because you can't see it, but you can feel it. On the inside of this door handle, it's actually knurled. So you have that same feeling that you get when you're going around these buttons. Not only that, these door handles are actually real chrome. So they actually have some strength to them. So when I pull this, there's no creaking or anything like that. Even I've been in old Bentleys, and you still pull these handles, and you could do it. It's just more confident, just feels so much more high quality. Car's got full black Alcantara roof liner. I think this is kind of important when you're driving a sports car, right down to your A-pillars and the whole roof. Everything's black. Your dashboard has like this piano black finish with a chrome strip that goes across the middle. I think this is cool because when this screen is off, it kind of helps it blend into the dash. Because sometimes when you have a big screen on your or a big screen that's a little bit too prominent, it kind of is an eyesore. This does a nice job of blending in, and this is just like a nice continuous line. This is a coupe, so the doors are really big, so it's really nice that you have those door pistons that I was showing you guys in the Rolls Royces, where you can stop the door anywhere and it'll just stay in its spot. Helps when it's a windy day and stuff like that, or when you're trying to shimmy out of your car, and if it's a tight parking spot, you don't have to worry about those notches. Really nice feature. With Volkswagen steering the ship now, we have a car that's engineered by the Germans and styled by the Brits. And I think they did a fantastic job. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'm Nima from MVL Leasing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.